Music isn't really that important to me anymore. So who am I and who cares, right? So I started this YouTube channel like a year ago and some change to share my music that I was making. Like many YouTube musicians out there, I've been disappointed, I guess, with how few listeners I've been able to get. It's not a big deal though. But I came across this video by a guy, I got my notes, could I remember his name? Andy Edwards, British chap. You may have heard of him. He's on YouTube. And his video's like this long rant. It's like almost 2 hours long, but he's basically at the beginning saying, no one wants to listen to your music. No one cares. And of course, you know, he's saying all the things that I'm already saying to myself inside my head. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I can accept that. Like, that's fair. Why should they? There's so much music. And also, why should they care like about any music? They don't need to. I've gone long stretches without listening to music of any kind. And you know, it was awesome. So nobody has to listen to any music, and they certainly don't have to listen to mine. So it's all good. And then I just want to acknowledge, and like, there's some freedom in that. And, you know, sometimes it's fun to make music, it's fun to share, and it's fun to make videos. And like when I was younger, I really took it a lot more seriously. But now it's just not as important to me anymore. That doesn't mean I'm going to quit entirely right now. I'm not going to stop making music necessarily. Recently, I decided that I would try to release like 50 songs in a year. So like almost one per week, if not one per week. And right now we're on like week 3 and I've got 3 or 4 songs out, and I'm sitting on a few. I'm just not ready to release them yet. I don't like the lyrics. I don't like something about them. So, but I'm still going to try to do that. Like some of the songs might be really short. They might be really bad. They might be both. But I'm going to still try to release that music. But I want to pivot and do other things because I realize, you know, I think more than wanting to either make music, record music, share music, I actually just was more interested in building a YouTube channel and a YouTube audience if I could, but that was really the only idea I could come up with. It's like, what do I have to share? Like, that's interesting to me, that's sustainable, that might be fun, might be like a project. And so that's what came to mind because I kind of have that background. You know, I went to school for music right after high school. I did drop out, but like a couple years I put in playing in bands and playing jazz and taking lessons. And, you know, I was a really good music theory student. I really was. So I had a love for music. Like, I used to be a huge music fan. Like 11-year-old me, no one in the world could possibly have been a bigger Stevie Wonder fan than me at, I think it was about 11, 12 years old. 13, 14, 15, I got into Pat Metheny group. There's no one on earth that was a bigger fan of Pat Metheny and Lyle Bays than me. I mean, it's just doesn't seem possible. That's how obsessed I was with their music. And then later it was Pearl Jam, Gordon Lightfoot, many others. I geeked out. You know, I didn't like all music. I like jazz, classical, rock, folk. I wasn't a big metalhead. I wasn't into punk rock or anything. But, you know, I was a huge fan of music. And I liked to play it. I liked to listen to it. And I had dreams of being a musician. But to me now, it's just not that important. Because here's the thing. It's just sound. It's just 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. And it's organized sound. And, you know, that is just a fact. That's what it is. And that's why you can put on headphones. You can put the speakers out and you can listen to it. And you can record it. Because that's what it is. It's sound. It's sonic information. And, you know, I know you can tell a story. You can have a vibe, a mood, a feel. You know, you can have virtuosity. You can have interesting harmonies. You can have all these things. You can have a mood. You can try to convey a message, get it on through, as the Doobie Brothers say. But it's just sound. At the end of the day, it's just sound. And it's waves that hit our organs and make some stuff happen in our brain for a little bit, and then it's over. And like, that's what it is. So it's just not that important to me anymore. There are more important things. I think that's really the point I'm getting at. There are more important things. So in addition to being a musician and a music fan, although these days I rarely listen to music, sometimes I do. You know, I'm ashamed to admit, but I do occasionally indulge in a bit of music and other sensual activity. But not as much as I used to. And I try to be restrained about it. I probably make more music than I listen to. And in addition to being a musician and a music fan, I'm a Buddhist. And so I know and I've been taught that desire for sensual pleasure, which music is a form of, is a cause for suffering. There go the geese. Listening to the geese that's beautiful. That's just sound too, but I like it. Natural sounds I love. Sensual pleasures, they bring a little bit of gratification, but not too much, and they can cause a lot of problems and a lot of suffering when we cling to them, when we crave for them, and they don't really solve our problems, and in fact they can create problems. It's really not it's not the music itself, it's not the sound waves, it's the way we interact with it that can be problematic. But sometimes you have to cut things off, and you have to say, hey, I'm not going to listen to that because that's problematic for me. I'm not going to look at that. That's problematic for me. I'm not going to, we have to control our senses to an extent as a matter of spiritual urgency and discipline. I don't think listening to music or making music is like a monumental sin. I'm not saying it's like a huge moralistic thing, and I'm not trying to demean music or put down musicians. This is a music channel, and it's going to stay that way. But I'm just offering a different perspective that it's not that serious. It's not that important. It's just sound. And like, I'm going to give it up someday. You're going to give it up someday. We're all going to give it up. It's just let it be like a lighthearted, fun thing, not too serious, and take breaks from it. That's what I'm going to do. Like, just listen to the sound of silence. Like that, sometimes that's beautiful. And most music is not an improvement on silence. Listen to the sound of the wind, cars in the background, anything. Just let your senses recover, heal from all this sensory overload. Everything we're watching and listening to, it's crazy. It's too much, And sometimes I feel bad, like I'm churning out stuff that's just adding to that mass of like sensory overload stuff that's coming onto your phone and your iPad. And we all like need to get away from that. We may come back to it, but we at least we got to take breaks. So I guess that's the video. And really, this is just an excuse to kind of use this new microphone and make some different kind of content, because I do want to continue to create content, and I just want to pivot away from just having it be music. Because, like I said, it's just not that important to me anymore. Like, I'm still going to do it. Like, don't get me wrong. And I'm still going to talk about it. But I also have other interests and other things that I want to do. If you guys have any thoughts about this, please let me know. I hope I haven't offended anybody. Thank you for listening to my rant. And I wish I had like more of a solid point. Like, hopefully in future videos, if I do this kind of vloggy style, maybe I'll have more of a point to it. Maybe I'll be reacting to something. This was more of just a rant and thinking about, trying to sort out this kind of conflict between my spiritual aspirations and my kind of creative projects and worldly pursuits. And like, there is just an inherent conflict there. And so you may not know this, but when I was in my 20s, I actually wanted to become a monk. And monks and nuns, they don't listen to music. They don't sit around and do that. They have more important stuff to do. So there is like a contradiction, a conflict, a tension there that sometimes I have to kind of work through. Like I said, I'm not abandoning ship entirely right now. I'm going to still create and release music. That's my plan, at least through the year. But I want to pivot and start doing other stuff as well. And so this is just my first little attempt at that. So thanks for bearing with me. And thanks to Andy Edwards, is that his name? The British dude, for that long philosophical, existential, musical rant about why no one cares about our music. I really appreciate that. So thank you guys. Peace.